if you're really looking at it, you just don't have like any kind of deterioration in the overall market structure. So like what we're seeing is, we had like a nice thrust and we're getting essentially a handful of rest days to, kind of start off the year. I think as long as we hold this zone of support, then we're probably pretty good. Like, we saw some weakness yesterday and we have some weakness today. Market's gapping down slightly, but it's really just a flat open. In the meantime, like, while the market's been consolidating some of its gains, there's still like really a lot of pockets of strength going on. Like you can see just right off the bat, there's a million stocks that are just like cooking and booking like right off the bat at the open. So, in general, I think that we don't have to probably spend too much time like just sitting there staring at the market. There was a ton of like all-day trenders just running around yesterday. I mean, holy fuck, like on this ride and stuff like that. There was always something going. You know it, Hondo. If you're not 2 to 3 minutes late for things, then you don't got anything to do all day. When in doubt, always show up 5 minutes late versus 5 minutes early. At least that's my rule of thumb. Fubo, let me see here. All right, so let's go first. I think fuckers. Look at that thing go. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, that's looking pretty. If that news holds, you can see this thing going right off the bat. Like you may have a chance on this. Da, 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 da. I didn't see what the news was, but that looks pretty good. As long as it holds over yesterday's highs, I think we'll have a chance. To get this thing going. If you look here, like it's been really kind of hugging around. It's been hugging around like all morning. Or, I mean, not all morning, for the last 5 days. So I think if it can get over this 9 EMA, then I think it's going to hold. So watch the highs of yesterday. If that thing starts to like build over that 29, I think you're going to have yourself like you'll have yourself a really nice shot at it. Woo! Damn, I like that. All right, cool. So add Fubo to the gapper list. Let's hit this thing on the first pullback. Damn. Holy shit. Anybody hit it? That's awesome. Cool. Now let's go into some of the other ones. This CCIV, yesterday I had some rumors out. It was on Bloomberg that potentially it might be the SPAC that acquires Lucid Motors. Yeah, it's the one that it might acquire Lucid Motors. I think this one, if it dips out today, we'll have to play it. So CCIV, Fubo, butt plug. Look at this thing. So butt plug's got Group Renault plug, joint forces, advanced hydrogen vehicles, blah, 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 blah. Man, this thing is on a rampage. I think you could probably still play this with the news out. Damn. Only on dips, this one. Only on dips. It's a little bit of a grinder. The news looks pretty good. If it dips down, then I think you can play this thing. Now, the one thing is if butt plug's starting to go, then what we can do is, try to trade some of these other ones. This BLDP is a little bit less extended. I'd be looking at this one too. Frankly, and I hate this stock because I know it's just such a big gelatinous turd, but this Blink has got a breakout on it. This Blink's got a nice breakout on it, like hot damn. Like watch this thing around 40, 54, 55. If it starts to ORB, one thing with Blink is, especially at the open, it'll move really fast. So like what I mean is like yesterday, like for example, it went red to green and it took off like, no other. This thing has got like a lot of range on it. Now it is a big turn, so you don't want to really probably hold it overnight, but it's a great day trading vehicle. So if plug is going to go, you can go in with Blink. There's a whole host of these bad boys. I think FUV's got like a really nice chart. FUV's got a really nice chart. This is like coming out of range over here too. I think this is kind of gonna, whoa, Fubo. Jeez. Man, that's hot. Damn. Woo. That ain't even giving us an entry now. Sometimes you gotta hit these things in the pre-market. Good Lord. This thing is looking really nice too. I think as long as it holds over 17, you're good to go. One thing with FUVs, it does trade like a little bit thin, so you want to make sure you size it appropriately. What I mean by thin is that it does enough volume, but you'll see a spread on it. It tends to get a little bit, the spread tends to widen out, so just be kind of mindful. But I think this one, as long as it holds yesterday's, I think yesterday's, highs, then I think you'll be good to go. 29.40, Jason, you slow. And I'm on webinar. All right, now let's take a look at this other one. So yesterday, this STPK Citron came out and said this is the best. This is the best out of the battery companies or the charging stations. They put $100 price. They put $100 price target on this bad boy. Now it is long in the tooth here, but what you can see is like the dips are like really getting bought aggressively on this. I'd watch for like any kind of pullback on this bad boy. Any kind of pullback on this one. If it starts to flush down today, watch and see if this thing can remount. I think this one may have a chance. The electric battery charging kind of thing, it's a theme, but it is getting very crowded. I think in the next couple months, you're going to start to see a handful of these names like start to really kind of show its teeth on which ones are going to be the real ones. Man, this F-cell is like a big, giant turd too. But it's like, it's still got a nice, location on this one. I would if you're going to trade battery stocks, I would still put this one on the list. Like, it moves pretty good. They're all turds for the most part. Probably one or two of these will come out ahead. But, I'd keep an eye on this one, too. This one's going to be a good day trader in general. ACTC. Hey, Harple, long time no see. ACTC, this thing's got some heat, too. Like, you got a 58% move on this thing. So it's got to pull back at the... It's got to pull back at the open. Yeah, but Blizzy, you take every single turd and call it awesome. That's your thing, right? You're a gluttonous person. You're a gluttonous person. Yo, yeah, I could tell you revel in gluttony. This thing is nice. All right, Clean Transition Corp. 5 million shares in volume. If this thing starts to pull back, let's see, 9 EMA, 20 EMA at the open. I think this one will have a chance. I wouldn't chase this bad boy up. When these things start to go crazy like this, you want to let them pull back, let them grind out, and then, hit it. So what I mean by let it pull back and let it grind out, if you see this is, when you get a stock that gaps up too much, this is ideally what you want to see. See how if you get a stock that gaps up, say it gaps up 20, 30 points, right? At some point, don't chase it off at the open, but let it pull back, right? It'll pull back to one of its EMAs, and then once it starts to grind somewhere and builds out that support, then what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to be able to measure your risk properly, and then you can come in. So you get a stock like like an ACTC that's just up too high. What you really want to be doing on these things, let it pull back, let it grind out a little bit, and then I think you're going to be good to go on that. You know what? I'm eyeballing FEYE for a little bit of a swing trade. It looks pretty good. Man, this Skills is nice too. I think long-term, this Skills has probably got something on it. It's a little bit long in the tooth for a swing trade. It stinks to day trade, but this is probably something you want to keep on a permanent watch list. It looks pretty good. Tiger, jump. Billy, man. Billy's a good trading vehicle at this point. It's just on one of those monster rampages. You can trade this thing back and forth. It's too late to swing. What I mean by too late to swing is, when you get a swing trade, you want to try to get into the beginning of the move. When you're day trading, you can keep, once the move starts, you can kind of keep doing it over and over. So that's a good day trading vehicle, but not really anything. Man, Baidu got smoked out yesterday too, huh? Bum, 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 bum. See, stuff like this, I'm watching it. It is the big third day of the gap down, but I'm not that keen on it. I think we get a bounce around here somewhere. But yeah, pass. Hey, now look, Lemonade. Does anybody know how many shares they sold off? So Lemonade's got a 7% gap down. It looks like, hold on, their offering was just 1.5 million shares. A lot of times, if the offering is small enough, and it dumps hard, you may see it get bought back up. So if this thing starts to pull back, and look, it's really extended on the daily chart, it went from 120 to 185. Probably so these fuckers could do the offering, right? If this thing starts to pull back pretty hard, you see it come back into 160, 150. I would actually go in and take a little gander at that one. 3 million offering is not it's not an obscene thing. It's 10% of its float probably for the most part. So you get enough of a pull on that one. I think you're going to be able to shred. If I could turn back time. Oh man, this Fubo's still cooking, huh? Look at this thing. If I could turn back time. Oh man. Bum 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 bum. Now you can see it's starting to flag out on the 2 minutes. If it takes out this range, it's gonna probably get going again. We got all day on this one though. Ideally on Fubo, I think if we get a little bit of a pull at the open, we should be good to go. A couple stocks to watch. I got this AVYA, Avaya, on watch for a potential swing trade. You got a nice kind of trend on this. You got a nice easy 2-day, 3-day pullback on this. It's starting to hold up over this breakout spot pretty well. If you look at the weekly chart on this, if it gets over 24, that's an IPO breakout. You'll probably see it run into the 30s, if not a little bit higher, really quickly. In this market, especially on the tech side, the IPO breakouts have been working really, really well. Etsy's another one that looks kind of like a swing trade. You've got yourself a nice push. You pulled back. You've remounted your MAs here. Any kind of dip on this one, if you get a dip on this one into the 181, 182 zone, that'll really kind of limit out your risk. This one's got a really good range to it. I think this one's gonna be holding up pretty damn well. Watch for a little dip on this one. I think that one's gonna have a potential swing. FCX is something probably we should be having in our long-term portfolios. We were talking about this at 25. It's got to pull back. Commodities have been on a big run for the last so many months. They're making a comeback on this one. This one's a little bit long in the tooth and it's very thick, right? It's got a big float on it. But I think, long term you're okay on this one. Now let's just talk about the faves. This Groji announced some monster earnings yesterday. You've got a red open on this one. if you dip back and you hold at any of these supports from yesterday, I think we try to go red to green on this one. It's got crazy good range on it. The earnings came out, and you can see it expects Q4 revenue rise 142%. Sounds good to me, right? But overall, the chart is in a big trend. It does have awesome intraday range and liquidity for the most part. So we could go in and I think we could try to do a red to green on this one. That's my fave for today on the day trading side. Ride had Lordstown Motors. They had a PR out yesterday. They didn't really give any specifics on the PR, but what they said was, hey, we received more than 100,000 pre-orders for our electric pickup truck. As you've probably seen, like these companies like NIO and XPEV, they sell like 2,000 cars, like 2,000 cars a month. So this one just reads really well. You had a big trend around it. Sometimes when you get a big day like that, you can often get an inside day the next day. It's not always the case. Well, you may get an inside day today on this one just due to the fact that it was a range. But at some point, if it starts to build out, take out yesterday's highs, whether it's today or sometime this week, ideally, 1 or 2 rest days on this would get this thing really going. I think at that point, if you look here at the daily chart, you've got an imminent kind of breakout setting up into that 30 spot. So at some point, it's going to break that 30 spot and really get going. You may have 1 to 2 inside days. Inside days are very bullish after a big push. What it just does is allows the stock to just rest a little bit, and then it can start to build. Now, it could very well go red to green today and bust loose. That's just one of the, that's one of the caveats of trading. You don't necessarily know, but you prepare both ways. This workhorse has got the same look as Ride. You got 1 test, 2 tests. It's even the same damn fucking price, right? You got 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. If this thing starts to cook over 30, I think that you're going to be in a really, really good spot on this one. In trading, the longer the base, the more powerful the move is. The longer the base, the more powerful the move is. You've got a base now from September. We're in January, so you got about 4 months. So theoretically, this is how it goes, is if you have like a 3-4 month base, then you're probably going to run for 3-4 months, theoretically, right? In terms of like, expected return or expected moves. I think this one's going to have a chance. It may not go today. I think Ride's got a little bit better of a range, but it looks good. Jordan Axelrod, you have a very, very strange obsession with RKT. If you can describe why you love RKT so much, that would be a big, big help. This is a little bit more of a spec play. I think this is going to be more of a swinger. But like you can see this like on a long-term basis. This NNOX has been holding. It's NNOX. It's been holding up real well here. If it could start to curl its way back, I think you're going to get a breakout at some point in the next kind of month or two on this one over 67. Ideally, if it can just tighten up here, it's going to give us a nice location to kind of manage our risk, and you can kind of come in. You can come in hot on this thing. I think we're going to get probably a breakout on this one. It's had 2 hit pieces thrown out on it. It's been hit twice. Once by Muddy Waters, another one by Citron. And it's still hanging out. It's still hanging out and going. I think that one, I know. I know, Blizzy, you love it. You love everything. You love everything. This BTBT is holding up okay. But what I was saying is, on this NNOX, I think our risk is really down. This stock stinks the day trade, but like it looks like more of a swing. If it could start to hold here, I think you're going to be able to kind of manage your risk down into the 49 spot, and it'll be pretty good. Penn, as long as it holds this 100, I think we're going to be able to day trade this thing for a couple more days. You've got to break out the all-time highs on this one too. Yesterday, you had a giant mega penis candle showing up on the daily chart. Your kind of ATH is at 99. So as long as it kind of holds that 99 to 100 zone, I think that this one's going to have, it's going to have a chance. So, just keep this one in mind too. This one's going to have a good look to it. We got Palantir. Now look, Palantir has been trading like poo-poo of recently. The reason why is it's been stuck in a range. So when you have a stock that's breaking out, right? There's a difference between breaking out and range. When you have a stock that's breaking out, right, and is trending and there's no levels of resistance overhead, then intraday the stock will kind of ebb and flow and have awesome range because there's no resistance overhead, there's no levels of supply. Once you get really extended and you start to get yourself into a range, then every kind of intraday pop and everything gets sold off. Like it'll just grind. The range starts to decompress. So if you look at the ATR on Palantir, the ATR on this thing was at $4. This is like your white line right here. Average true range last 14 days. So the ATR on this was like $4. Now if you look down here, the ATR on it is $1.78. So the ATR has come down 1 point, right? 2.5 points, give or take. Now the range has been getting tested. So the first thing it's done is it's broke over these two MAs, which is really positive. Now we've got this trend line that it's stuck under. If we can get kind of like an MPC candle just to bust loose over this thing, then we're gonna have ourselves some fun. That's when the ATR, because it's been getting depressed, will start to expand, and then the day trading on it will be really easy. If it does break that trend line, I'm hitting that thing for a swing. It looks pretty good. This Yalla, I'm in for a swing trade too, but it's also a good day trader. This Yalla is an Arabic social media stock. It's an Arabic social media stock. With Twitter kicking off, people, who knows, right? Maybe some of these other social media stocks start to get picked up. It had a nice volume pop yesterday. It was doing about 1.5 million shares a day. It moved about 5 million yesterday. You remounted multiple MAs. I actually think this one's probably a nice kind of play for the next few weeks. That one's a priority too. Those are the faves. CCIV, Fubo, Plug are the faves on the Gapper side. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Guys, we do have our options course starting today. There's more than enough spots for you guys. If you guys are trying to grow your accounts and stuff, that's a good spot to start, getting interested in some stuff if you want to do swing trades and things like that. Let's go have some fun today. Yesterday was sick. I don't know how we're going to beat that, but we shall try. DDD is on the list permanently for the next couple weeks just because the range on it's been so sick. Let's see what we can do with it. Everything else is just fluff. Let's go have some fun. Let's do what we do, which is the do. All right, let's go. Let's make this happen today.